Hello and welcome to Doug Project. Now, I've got into carving characters at the time when I don't really need to do it. Between AI and 3D printing, I can just describe what I want, download a model, print it out and get to a probably better result much faster. But where's the fun in that? I really enjoy carving. I really enjoy missing out on the latest series on the telly just so I can hide away in my shed, listen to music and do things like this. So what I'm going to do is sort of a halfway house. I'm going to use digital tools. I'm going to use 3D modeling software. I'm going to use 3D printing to first come up with a design that I'm really happy with, and then, only then, am I going to carve it out of wood. What we're going to do at the end of this project is then ask the AI to design something exactly the same. So try and use the description of my work to drive the AI model, and then we'll put the two next to each other and we'll see what looks better. Now, I'm fully prepared that I'm going to get my ass kicked on this and the AI will completely outperform me, but let's give it a go.
So for this project, I'll be designing a jackalope. It's basically a jackrabbit mixed with an antelope, or here in the UK, a hare with horns. Now, I know it as a jackalope, but in Sweden they call it a skvader, and in Germany a wolpertinger. So why model a jackalope? Well, if I'm going to be spending my evenings carving something, there's a little bit too much horrible reality in the world at the moment. So let's do something fantastic or fantasy in some way. And besides, I've had this model in my head now for a while. That's the 3D modeling out of the way and straight into the 3D printing. This gives us a fantastic little model that we can take all our measurements from and gives us a little guide. So with all projects, it starts off exactly like this. Lots of glue. I use Titebond PVA glue. It seems to do exactly what I need from it. And I use some traditional old G-clamps. All my clamps are old. I don't really like those plasticky new ratchet type. And here we are, the starting block. Everything starts like this. I get my pens out, I scribble all over it, and start to develop a plan of attack. The first thing I do is get my heavy gouge and just start removing everything that isn't jackalope. Now, I said at the beginning that this time we'd be using digital tools to help me. So I keep referring to my printouts, I keep referring to my model. Unfortunately, my lump of wood is 2.27 times bigger, so it's a funny thing to scale all the dimensions by. Now, sometimes it's weeks between carving sessions, so I leave myself little notes, I scribble all over the work. You can see I've written leave here. I've obviously measured up and gone too far on the ear. Couple of weeks work and yeah, it's starting to take shape. I'm fairly happy with the result so far. For the horns, I've tried to look at the fossil record for inspiration, and you've got to go all the way back to the Cretaceous period before you find any common ancestor for rabbits and deer. It was actually a sort of rat, and it definitely didn't have horns. So from this point, I'm just making it up as I go along. Now, I'm sure there's some purists out there that can achieve this effect without needing to resort to power tools. I can't, I couldn't do this without them. My view on the subject is that just use whatever tools work. Okay, that's the horns in, time to add some texture.
One of the things I do before I do too much in a new area of fur is I just mark out the direction of travel. If you look at pictures of rabbits, you can sort of see which way the fur brushes or which way it sits naturally. And I've just put some light little pencil marks where I need the fur to follow. You can see it down the neck, you can see the sort of direction I've been going, so it sort of flows this way.
At this point in the project, I started to get curious as to what the AI would do with my design. So using the most common image generation websites, I started to put out some descriptions and started generating some basic images. They didn't look good, and I was starting to feel better about myself, but the more effort I put into describing them, the better they started to get. I put in about 3 or 4 paragraphs, and then it started to get really, really good. And I could see here that my work was going to be cut out for me. There's no way I can really compete with this. I will say though, it does look a little bit like a camel, so I've started to refer to this one as camel face. Now this looks a little bit extreme, painting the horns very, very dark using a wood stain, but the plan here is that if you sand it back, it reveals all of the lights and darks that you can get from the same variety of wood, and it just brings out all of the detail. So, am I done? It looks like a jackalope. It also looks like what I had in my head. So I think I'm done. If you speak to any artist, nobody really knows when their work's finished. For me, it's when I start thinking about other projects, start curious as to what I'm going to be making next, and I can't maintain any effort on this. So let's call it done.
So, who wins? Camel face or my wood carving? I suppose on the face of it, if you just look at camel face and you compare, it's a flat image, it's very, very, very impressive. And if you ask my children, it wins hands down. However, it doesn't matter. I've really, really enjoyed making this, and if I'm ever forced to separate it, I'm gonna be really upset. The day it has to leave the workshop, I will be absolutely gutted, and I'm very, very happy with the result. The other interesting thing is camel face my creation? I came up with the descriptive terms, I've done all the work in the background to come up with it, so I should be proud of it as my own work as well. The truth is, I'm not, for 2 reasons. The first one is, it's not really my work. It's built on all of the work of photographers, people that have come up with original artwork, people that come up with original carvings long before me. It's trained on that, it's built on that, and I can't really claim it. The other thing, and the most important thing, it was too easy. That took less than 20 minutes. This has taken me picking at it for 4 months in the evenings to come up with something that I'm happy with. So I don't really mind. I don't think I've won, but I've enjoyed the process and I've got something I'm very, very happy with. Now, before I finish, the children did remind me that actually, before I started this project, I had promised my wife that I was going to make her a jewellery box instead, and I've sort of spent all this time doing this, but I've got a cunning idea.